Good evening and welcome to Blueprint Explosive Exclusive of Madhavdas G. Now, the NTA's failure in the NEET examination has forced the government to take strict measures to ensure a foolproof test. Nearly 23 lakh students had written the pen and paper examination in the first attempt before the examination had to be quashed altogether due to the paper leak revelation. Now the government has decided to take the unprecedented step of roping in the Indian Air Force for the conduct of the examination. This was confirmed by the Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, which marks the first time that the armed forces are being roped in for the conduct of a student examination. Here's what Dharmendra Pradhan told the media. And this is specifically what he has said. He says that we follow a whole of government approach. He's also gone on to say there's a big role of the Postal Department and MHA in previous examinations as well. He's also gone on to add that they've decided to involve the Indian Air Force in transporting papers. Work done by the Postal Department will be backed by the Indian Air Force, is what he says. Centers fully prepared to conduct fair exams. But the opposition has questioned the center's move and also calls it an admission that the government no longer trusts their very own system that they've built. In fact, they've also said that others in opposition have called this an attempt to further mislead the public and the students by calling it an attempt to just give a semblance of stringent measures being taken to protect the students.
और अब आर्मी को बुलाया है एग्जाम लेने के लिए। आर्मी क्या क्या करेगी? आर्मी बॉर्डर पर काम करेगी, आर्मी ऑपरेशन सिंदूर करेगी, आर्मी टेररिज्म के खिलाफ लड़ेगी। अब एक नई जिम्मेदारी उनके ऊपर आ गई। ये एग्जाम ले लो भाई, एग्जाम ले लो, चुनाव ले लो, क्या ये आर्मी का काम है?
अब आज की डेट में धर्मेंद्र प्रधान हो, नरेंद्र मोदी जी हो, वायुसेना की मदद ले लें, ब्रह्मोस मिसाइल लगा दे, क्या हर परीक्षा सेंटर पर ये लोग जो है तोपें भी लगा दे? लेकिन परीक्षा लीक तो हो चुकी है ना। अब जिस तरीके की जो जुमलेबाजी की जा रही है, बयानबाजी की जा रही है, इसमें हंसी के सिवाय और कुछ नहीं आता और करुणामयी हंसी आती है, क्योंकि बच्चों का भविष्य बर्बाद हो रहा है। और भारतीय जनता पार्टी लोगों को भरमाने के लिए कभी वायुसेना के इस्तेमाल की बात कर रही, कभी ब्रह्मोस के इस्तेमाल की बात कर रही।
पूरी दुनिया में हम अकेले देश होंगे जहां की फौज, जहां की वायुसेना, जहां की थल सेना, जहां की जल सेना अब परीक्षाएं लेने का काम करेंगी। माफी मांगिए पहले बच्चों से और कहिए we failed you.
Now, earlier today, the Supreme Court also heard petitions pertaining to the NEET examination, where the court has made some stinging observations against the NTA. Here are some of the strong observations that have been made by the Supreme Court. The first trap: why are these leaks recurring? Second, where's the foolproof system that you promised? They've also gone on to add that recommendations appear to have failed. Which individual is responsible for this? They've also added that accountability has to be fixed, further going on to say that name the person who's responsible. Now, these are some very, very strong observations coming in from the Supreme Court. In its response, the NTA, represented by Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, has mentioned that measures have been taken to strengthen the examination process. The Solicitor General also asserted that the entire process is being monitored by the highest levels of the government. The Solicitor General says the Prime Minister himself is personally monitoring the situation to ensure that there are no lapses. Here are some of the NTA's submissions in the Supreme Court. The first assurance that re-examination will be safe and secure. This is what Solicitor General Mehta has said to the Supreme Court. A high-level meeting has been held as well. Second assurance, assurance 3, measures taken can't be disclosed at the moment. Assurance 4, disclosure would affect the very purpose for which they are being put in place. These are some of the measures that they've in fact talked about. There's also, of course, more details in terms of at the highest levels, the government looking into the entire aspect. The BJP says all measures are being taken to ensure the student community does not face the brunt of the crimes committed by some miscreants.
All the considerations is being considered. PMO is directly monitoring. We'll do the best possible thing, best available resources available to us. And people should not question our intent. The intent is very clear that there should be fair examination for the student, because this comprises future of 22 lakh students, which cannot be jeopardized at any cost.
All right, let's take this across to our guest now. Joining us, Charu Pragya, BJP spokesperson with us. We have Air Vice Marshal P.K. Srivastava, who's of course a defense expert. We also have Dr. Akashdeep Muni, political analyst, joining us. Pooja Mishra, SP spokesperson, also with us. Charu Pragya, first question to you. You heard the Supreme Court, very, very stringent observations. They're asking about who's responsible for this. Where is the foolproof system? Who's going to be held accountable? Name the officer even is a word that has come in from the Supreme Court. Very, very strong language there being used by the apex court. Charu Pragya, can you hear me?
Absolutely, Madhav, because the future of the next generation in this country... Yes, I can. Am I not audible?
Yes, go ahead, go ahead.
Right. So the future of the young of this country is of utmost importance. It is very precious. So everyone who is connected to the examination now are very vigilant, very careful, and all the questions the Supreme Court is asking of the government are entirely fair. Our government takes their responsibility for conducting examinations in a very serious manner, and in this debate I am not going to go back to that 4-page long list of paper leaks that have happened in opposition governments or even currently in opposition ruled states. What I want to focus on today is that every single measure that the opposition is mocking today, I want to ask them this. When something is going wrong, you call it negligence. When the government is going all out to protect the future of the students and the sanctity of these exams, you call this a overreaction. You think the measures are extraordinary because now even the IAF
Charu
could be
Pragya,
involved
I'm
in
going to come
making
to,
sure
I've not even asked you that question relating to the Air Force, but I want to ask you, when 2024 there was a similar leak, what happened to those persons? Why are they not punished so far? Because obviously there is a sense of, of impunity which is allowing such persons to carry out these leaks.
Madhav, see, a leak cannot be done by one person, and I'm admitting that if it is a systemic problem, it has to be fixed in a systemic way. And bigger countries than India, I'll take the example of China when it comes to population. Another country I'll take the example of is South Korea, even Bangladesh. The way exams are conducted, these central examination, the way it is conducted for students in these countries, it's very stringent. The entire country literally halts to a stop. A complete stop. Internet was turned down in Bangladesh. In China, it is declared like nearly a national holiday. Same is the case with South Korea. So if now the government has gotten to a point where a systemic measure is being taken, even if the opposition thinks it's a big extreme, if it is helping our students, if it is securing their years and the future they have with this examination.
Even if it appears extreme, if the government is taking strong measures to protect the students, why are you mocking that? Why are you raising questions on that? Pooja.
Madhav, they are creating an illusion that they are taking serious measures. They are vigilant. They are harassing the student. How vigilant our government is that 18 students committed suicide, and they don't allow the student even to wear color clothes. Dark color clothes are not allowed. Even the buttons are cut down. You can't wear even earrings or nose pin. Even single tiniest of the hairpins, they remove that. I have also given examination. I know that. Even that is also removed. And if you are wearing full sleeve shirt, that will be also removed. You will be sitting in t-shirt if you are a guy and will be giving examination. That's how our government is vigilant. In 2024, how accountable our ministry was, that Dharmendra Pradhan said, I don't know. The paper hasn't leaked. When protests started, then they agreed, yes, the paper has been leaked. And now they are saying that only the route decide, only on the way to the question, when question paper travels to the centers, then only leak happens. What about where it is printed, when questions are drafted? There are a lot of steps. There are lots of steps there where paper get leaked, and the government and the agency, talking about the NTA, so far no senior officers have been taken accountable of. And still government is saying that we are vigilant. If you were vigilant, 22 lakh students wouldn't have been facing this situation. In 2024, NEET UG paper was leaked. That was conducted by NTA, and UGC NET was leaked. That was also conducted by NTA. NTA has a dark history of paper leak. Despite of that, the government choose NTA only. Why? And at the same time, she is giving example that look at the China, look at the Bangladesh. Why not look at India only?
No, and
Look
there
at
are some
India.
serious questions at the end of the day. I know Charu Pragya, I know it's a totally different subject, but look at the controversy surrounding the CBSE, OSM system. The company that was given it clearly could not handle that brief. It's a totally different issue from NEET. But the point is that why are issues relating to students, this year they seem to be completely falling apart. Why is that happening?
Madhav, see, nothing is falling apart, and I would urge everyone to look at this current scenario with respect to how things have been conducted up till now. Now we are at a stage where we are trying to make changes. Yes, maybe some of those changes have not gone as per plan, and I am a mother to a teenager. I am taking this entire discussion very personally and very seriously. At the end of the day, like I said, if there is a systemic failure, if there is a leak from some point, the government is ensuring that these leaks are plugged in such a way that provisions put in place henceforth are absolutely foolproof, are bulletproof rather, not even foolproof. So in that entire conversation that the Congress spokesperson has got up, I'm not even asking her what she's doing in her states. I'm not even getting into that, like I said, and I'm repeating this because if I got into that, Congress has nothing to say, but we are responsible for the future of the students in this country.
Pooja Mishra represents the Samajwadi Party, but let me bring in. Yeah, let me bring in. All right, I think Pooja wants to respond to you. Very quickly, Pooja.
Madhav continuously saying that government is vigilant. We don't want to go to the states where the other party is ruling. Come on, first take your accountability. Talking about the CBSE agency which was hired to check the copies, that was blacklisted.
Pooja, did you not hear the fact that I have already said that
they form another company.
Government is taking it. So you know what, Madhav, isn't it ironic that there is no comment on the provisions which
One by one, please. One by one, please. Let's not have this. Let's go one by one. Let Pooja complete her comment, and then I'm going to come to each of you one by one. There are two panelists who have not even spoken yet. Pooja, please complete.
The people who were blacklisted once the former company in Tamil Nadu, they checked the CBSE exam.
Not Tamil Nadu, ma'am. It's in Telangana.
So sorry, Telangana. Yes, it was blacklisted, and after that, the government is so vigilant to give the.
But was it blacklisted by the center? Was it blacklisted by the center? That's a factual question I'm asking you. Was it blacklisted by the center? Where was it blacklisted?
Yes, it was blacklisted. Yes, that company was blacklisted.
By the center?
They formed
Are you sure?
Yes, they formed another company. They went through a loophole. Like suppose this company was blacklisted, they form another company, and that company got this. Now they are checking. The owner is same, but the company name has changed, and now they surpasses the you can say that surpasses the checkworks or whatever. The government is so vigilant.
Okay, allow me to bring in Air Marshal P.K. Srivastava. Air Marshal P.K. Srivastava, what's being stated over here by the opposition is that the army is meant to guard the borders of the country. The army is meant to fight, conflicts such as Operation Sindoor. Are they really and realistically expected to be now be part of the conduct of examinations in the country? That's the question that they are asking.
Madhav, Army or Indian Air Force or Indian Navy, they have a role as per our Act that in case of there is a requirement to aid these civil authorities for any kind of logistics activity or any kind of trust building in the nation or any kind of other activities, it is part of the legitimate work which we do and we have done a number of times. Normally it's very visible in terms of national calamities and otherwise. But if you really ask me, it is part of the abundant caution. See, as an Air Force man, I know what happens. There is a hub and spoke kind of structure when you print the system somewhere, you get it, you do the paper setting somewhere. These are the places where traceability can be very simple. But when it goes into spoke, in this case, I believe there are 551 cities to be sent the papers for. The logistics chain, the securitization of logistics chain, even when we send our arms and ammunitions or our confidential documents, top secret documents, that is the most important pilferage point. So you ought to be very sure, and particularly in the backdrop of continuous politics over it and the continuous leakage, it is a national issue. And I'm pretty sure next year there'll be CBT kind of format, computer-based testing kind of format, and this issue will become a non-issue. But the first go, we need to ensure that if you go for the second round, you do not have any pilferage in the spoke. And spoke is your logistics. And if Air Force comes to the aid of the nation, and particularly for the young 23 lakh aspirants who are going to be your future professionals, in my considered opinion, it is a good step. And I would say it's not outside the domain of Indian Air Force. We don't only guard the border. The internal strife or internal security, when it is beyond the control, I mean, I'm using this word, they're very harsh words, and you feel that national interest can only be restored, sometimes through flag marches. The flag marches are done only for the sake of restoring the confidence of the people that yes, governance still continues. So for that reason, Madhav, it is a well set out thing. And in 2024 elections, we did 1,000 hours and some 1,074 sorties just to ferry EVMs to the rightful places so that there's no tinkering of the EVMs in
Let me bring in another voice on this. Let Dr. Akashdeep Puni come in on that. Dr. Akashdeep Puni, you heard the retired Air Vice Marshal, and he says that it is part of the armed forces mandate, and it is true that in times of emergency, for instance, when there are natural disasters, the armed forces do step in. At the time of election, for instance, they help with the ferrying of EVMs. So they are saying if this is really the requirement of the day, that armed forces have to be involved, the Air Force has to be involved, then so be it, if that brings us a resolution to the problem that students are facing. What's the opposition then, Dr. Boni?
Madhavji, see, the move to involve the defense forces for the first time in the Indian history, an institution tasked with national security in transporting question papers, underscores the failure of traditional organizations like police and the NTA to keep the paper leak gangs in check under the BJP government. And it may be government is banking on the credibility of defense forces to restore public trust in the examination process. I don't know. But just imagine, Army picks up the NEET exam paper from the printing center, bulletproof vehicles take it to the nearest airbase, IF then flies the papers to the destination. Someone sarcastically asks that why not tank is used. But the main bigger question, Madhavji, today is that failure of the government in NEET paper leak scam. NEET UG 2024 paper leak case, trial has not started yet. Yes, trial has not started yet. Since more than 2 years has passed. NEET 2026 paper leak scam, where 2 students have committed suicide and multiple are reported. CBI hasn't yet filed charge sheet. You are slow, and again, as usual, you are hiding behind the armed forces. If a civilian testing agency now requires military logistics for secure transport of papers, it suggests that ordinary administrative machinery is no longer trusted to ensure integrity. I request the NTA that either you stand up or conduct a new agency should be created. If they cannot do it, they should give up the position and ask somebody else to take over.
Okay. You want to respond to that, Charu? Because it shows a failure of governance is what Akashdeep Puni is saying, whether at the level of the police and other agencies or the NTA itself. And that is what is most striking. This is the first time this has ever happened in independent India's history. Please respond to Dr. Puni.
Madhav, first of all, Mr. Muni is trying to mislead our viewers today by saying investigations have not been conducted. The cases have been handed over to CBI. There have been action taken. Charge sheets have been filed. Then NTA director has been removed. So it's not like action has not been taken. Another thing is that, and I'm going to say this without any kind of a political affiliation, ऐसा कहा जाता है कि चोर हमेशा पुलिस के एक कदम आगे भाग रहा होता है. So at this point of time, the government has decided to step up in a complete manner. And I'm sorry, Mr. Muni, there is no misusing of our defense forces and personnel. The fact is that every single power at the hands of the government is going to be used to make sure our children's future is secured. And I think you should be applauding the step the government is taking instead of finding reasons to criticize it further. Because the fact here is, it shows utmost seriousness. It shows that there is nothing above this. The priority is absolute and we are going to act accordingly. And then, like I said, this is not an isolated case. You know, it might be happening for the first time in India, but the world over, when examinations are of this level of importance, governments step in, authorities step in, cities, countries come to a standstill.
Where is the Air Force used, Charu Pragya? Which country is the Air Force used for transferring exam papers?
No. Listen, I'm not comparing the Air Force is being used. I'm comparing the level at which.
But that itself speaks volumes, doesn't it? Of course, I mean, I agree with you. Countries do take severe measures, but this level of the armed forces being involved in transporting exam papers, does the opposition have a point when they say that things have become so dire that we can't trust anybody but our armed forces with the exam papers?
But tell me, if the opposition lives in such trust deficit, they in fact have even questioned our armed forces. So let's not go there. But the fact is they live in extreme trust deficit. Are they going to question even the armed forces now? Is that what they are saying? Because see, when at every level investigations
let's
are
be
going
fair.
on,
That's
every
not what they're
level
saying.
provisions have been put in place.
The point is the conduct of the exams. All right. Akashji Buni, are you questioning the armed forces and the capabilities?
Also the government would have taken.
Let him answer that. You asked that question. Let him answer that.
Madhavji, two things I want to put it. I again say that on 2024 paper leak scam, the trial has not started. If the trial has started, Charu Pragya should say that I am wrong, or that is, she should acknowledge the trial has not started. In 2026.
Okay, let's settle it one by one. Charu Pragya, has the trial started? He says the trial has not started.
Hasn't the charge sheet been
One by one, please. Yes, Charu Pragya.
The charge sheets have been filed. There is a process. It happened last year, right, Akashdeep? Tell me, what is the cycle of a legal case in this country? Can you tell me that? It's not like the CBI has not done its job. It's not like heads have not rolled. It's not like charge sheet has not been filed. The trial being started is not up to the government, Akashdeep. I thought you were an educated person. It was up to authorities to file the charge sheets. The trial will start when it starts, but the paperwork is there, right? Which was the work of the government. Please. And I find this deplorable that even at a situation like this, you would rather mislead the public.
2026, charge sheet not filed till now. Am I wrong or am I right? 2026 paper leak scam, charge sheet not filed by CBI till now. it's not filed. Am I wrong or am I right?
When did it happen? No, when did it happen? No, 2004 it's been filed. 2026, when did the leak happen? Can you give me the date, Akashdeep? Can you give me the date? Do you know how many days are given for a charge sheet to be filed?
No, Akashji Buni, one by one. One thing is to question the 2024 process. 2026, yes, they do have their 60 days or 90 days of time to file the charge sheet. But the larger question that Charu Pragya I want to come back to is this, that even the Supreme Court is asking, why have the reforms suggested by the Radhakrishnan Committee, how have they failed? Because many of those reforms do not appear to have been implemented as well. There is, for instance, a hybrid model which they have suggested, where you can actually print out the question papers which are transferred by email at various examination centers to prevent leakage in transportation. But all those recommendations do not seem to have been implemented.
Madhav, I believe the government is examining every single recommendation and bringing into effect all of those which are going to make sure the exams are conducted in a more transparent manner, and that has been continuing. See, let's not cast aspersions where none need to be cast. Another thing is, and I want to say this seriously, Akashdeep, you cannot behave like a vulture at a time like this by spreading misinformation, by thinking that everything can be accelerated and entire laws can be changed. For the last paper leak, when you raised the question, I told you charge sheets have been filed, so you again changed the goalpost to come on to this year. This year, how many days have passed? How many days have passed? And please, when it comes to the future of our children, do not play politics over it. If you can constructively be a part of a conversation, you're most welcome to be.
Let's leave it there. We are completely out of time. Charu Pragya, Air Vice Marshal P.K. Srivastava, Dr. Akashdeep Buni and Pooja Mishra, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us. But certainly, of course, the future of students, when it comes to that, irrespective of political parties, irrespective of state, region, etc., the point is that this impacts all Indians universally. And therefore, a resolution has to be brought in, whether it is NEET, whether it is a CBSE examinations, and issues of students do have to be resolved at the very earliest. Leaving it there, thanks so much for joining us.